Most people spend their energy watching someone else's life unfold, while their own dreams sit quietly in the corner, unloved, untouched, and slowly dying. Isn't that strange that a person would give up their one shot at greatness to scroll, to compare, to wish? The tragedy isn't that people fail. The real tragedy is that they never truly begin because their eyes were too busy watching someone else shine. Let me tell you, no wealth in comparison, no strength in envy, and no growth in gossip. You don't build a castle by staring at your neighbor's gate. You build it one brick at a time, with your own hands, with your own plans, with your own discipline. If you want to rise, you must focus, and the focus must begin with the man in the mirror. Now the question is, why is it so hard to focus on ourselves? Why is it so easy to drift into the lanes of other people's lives? I'll tell you why. It's because watching is easier than working. Comparing is easier than committing. Envy requires no effort, only your time and your peace. But building yourself, that takes effort. And most people don't have a structure for effort. They wake up and drift. They chase entertainment over education. And then they wonder why the success they admire never lands on their doorstep. Success doesn't visit the house of distraction, it visits the house of discipline. Discipline is how you earn the right to grow. Discipline is how you separate the doers from the dreamers. It's how you prove to life that you're serious. Because life doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you demand of yourself. And what you demand is visible in your habits, your standards, your rituals. So if you're serious about wealth, serious about growth, serious about living a life that matters, you've got to stop giving energy to the wrong thing. Stop watching the highlight reels of others. Don't wait for someone to check in on you. You check in on yourself. Ask, what did I feed my mind today? What did I do that was uncomfortable? Did I honor my schedule or let my emotions make the decisions? You see, the man or woman who wins is not the one with the most talent. It's the one who shows up after the excitement fades. It's the one who keeps their promise to themselves long after the mood in which they made it has disappeared. Discipline is keeping appointments with your future. It's saying, even if no one claps, even if no one sees, I will still do what must be done because I respect the person I'm becoming. That's power. That's focus. That's how you attract wealth, by becoming a person worthy of wealth. Don't be fooled. Wealth is not something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the right kind of person. And the right kind of person doesn't waste time comparing. They're too busy growing. They're too busy planting seeds, working the soil, watering the roots of their potential. Let me give you a warning. If you don't focus on yourself, the world will gladly keep you focused on them. Social media, gossip, distractions, they'll all rob you of your power if you let them. But here's the truth, no one is responsible for protecting your peace except you. So stop handing over the keys to your mind and emotions to every passing opinion. Raise the bar on your thinking. Build a life so rich in purpose that you don't have time to be distracted. Make your schedule so packed with becoming your best that you forget to check what everyone else is doing. And remember, when you stop focusing on others, you stop needing validation. You stop craving applause. You stop performing, and you start living with clarity, living with ownership, living with deep, quiet confidence that you are becoming something extraordinary. That's the goal, not just to get wealthy, but to become worthy. Worthy of the opportunities, worthy of the influence, worthy of the abundance. And that worthiness is built in private. It's built in the hours you used to waste scrolling. It's built in the discomfort you used to avoid. So what does all this mean for you? It means this. If you want to change your life, stop watching and start working. Stop comparing and start building. Stop envying and start evolving. Let others gossip, you grind. Let others judge, you grow. Let others distract, you discipline. And don't forget, your future self is watching. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you will either thank yourself or regret yourself. The question is, what are you doing today that deserves a thank you tomorrow? So don't chase after what they have. Become the kind of person who attracts what they have. And that begins when you finally look away from the world and focus fully on yourself. Discipline doesn't begin in the gym. It doesn't begin in your bank account. It doesn't even begin in your calendar. Discipline begins in the mirror. The first act of discipline is to watch yourself. Not others, yourself. That's where it starts. If you want to build wealth, build success, build a life that others admire, the starting point is observation. The disciplined life is born from a life of awareness. Most people are out here trying to correct the world, trying to adjust others, trying to shift the external, but the wise ones, they turn the lens inward. They learn to study themselves like a scientist. Because if you can't observe your patterns, you can't change your direction. What time do you wake up? What do you do with your first hour? What tone do you speak in when you're under pressure? What language do you use when no one's listening? What do you do with your idle time? You see, it's not about the big moments. Success is rarely the result of a single explosion. It's the cumulative result of tiny disciplines, is to watch them. Now, this kind of self-watching isn't judgment, it's awareness. You're not beating yourself up, you're just taking notes. You're building a profile of who you are, how you respond, what triggers you, what weakens you, and what fuels you. Because if you can't see it, you can't fix it. The average person lives like a sleepwalker, responding, reacting, stumbling through habits they never chose. They don't see themselves. That's why they repeat the same patterns year after year, wondering why their life never changed. But the disciplined man, the disciplined woman, they watch, they examine, they journal, they evaluate, they ask better questions. Why did I skip my plan today? Why do I delay hard things? What excuse did I just sell myself? And why did I buy it? See, this is where discipline begins, not in trying to be perfect, but in being honest. Honest about where your time is going. Honest about the real reasons you haven't grown. That kind of honesty, backed by observation, is where transformation starts. Now, I've always said, discipline is the foundation of all success. But listen, that foundation isn't poured with concrete and steel. It's poured with awareness and responsibility. You don't build a strong life by accident. You build it by watching closely and adjusting constantly. Just like a pilot checks his instruments every few minutes, you've got to check your thoughts, your habits, your tone, your direction daily. Think of it like this. If you were managing someone with your habits, would you give them a raise or a warning? Would you invest in them or fire them? That's the level of honesty you need with yourself, because discipline is not about being hard on yourself, it's about being real with yourself. That kind of honesty is rare, but it's the difference between drifting and directing your life. Now, I'll tell you, self-watching is not a one-time event. It's a daily habit. The mind drifts, habits slip, and so we return each day to the mirror of discipline. We check our posture, our words, our motives, not to shame ourselves, but to sharpen ourselves, to stay in alignment, because when you live with that kind of awareness, wealth starts to show up. Opportunities begin to notice. People start to respect, and not because you're lucky, but because you're disciplined. So if you want to build wealth, start by watching yourself like a hawk. Be your own coach. Be your own standard. Forget watching what they're doing. Tune into what you are doing, because the greatest gains don't come from control, they come from clarity. And clarity comes from self-awareness, and that, my friend, is the birthplace of true discipline. And once discipline is born, wealth is not far behind. Here is another important lesson I have learned. If you want to ruin your momentum, stall your progress, and rob yourself of inner peace, all you have to do is start comparing. That's it. Just start looking sideways instead of forward. Look at what he has, what she's doing, how far they've gone. And suddenly, what you have feels small, your pace feels slow, and your journey feels pointless. But here's the truth. Comparison is not a tool of growth, it's a tool of distraction. It doesn't sharpen you, it weakens you. The moment you begin comparing yourself to others, you leave your lane and step into confusion. Now you're no longer measuring progress based on your potential, you're measuring it based on someone else's highlight reel. You've traded personal excellence for public perception, and let me tell you, that trade always costs more than it gives. You see, there are only two outcomes when you compare. Either you look down on someone and inflate your ego, which leads to arrogance, or you look up and deflate your spirit, which leads to discouragement. Neither one leads to growth. Neither one sharpens your character. One makes you proud, the other makes you feel small, but neither one helps you improve. And that's why I say comparison is the thief of progress. Let me offer you something better. Instead of looking at others, look at your own yesterday. That's the only scoreboard that matters. Ask yourself, am I stronger than I was last week? Am I wiser than I was last month? Am I more disciplined than I was last year? If the answer is yes, you're winning. That's progress, that's growth, that's success. See, the problem with comparison is that it distracts you from the work that actually matters. While you're watching someone else, you're wasting energy that could be used to improve yourself. You're busy scrolling, not building. You're observing, not optimizing. And life isn't impressed by your opinions about others. It responds to your habits, your effort, your consistency. And don't forget, people rarely post their failures. You don't see the struggle, the stress, the doubts. You only see the results. So when you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's best performance, you're being unfair to yourself. That's not a fair race. It's not an honest assessment. It's an illusion. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't admire or learn from others. Of course you should. You can study the greats. You can take notes. You can be inspired. But the moment that inspiration turns into comparison, stop yourself. Because what you're building, who you're becoming, that's your story. That's your craft. And it deserves your full focus. Remember this. Your bar should be set by your potential, not by someone else's position. What's possible for you? That's the real question. You have gifts, you have time, you have opportunities. And if you spend your energy watering those, you won't even have time to look at someone else's lawn. You'll be too busy growing your own. And isn't that what this life is about? Progress, not perfection. Direction, not comparison. If you're 1 inch better than yesterday, then you're on the right path. Keep going, keep building, keep your eyes on your paper. This isn't about being the best in the world, it's about being the best for the world by becoming the best version of you. So let them run their race. Let them build their dream. Let them have their moment. You focus on you, stay in your lane, measure yourself against your own potential. Because that's where the growth lives. And that's where the wealth begins, not in comparison, but in discipline, in self-awareness, and in commitment to your own unique journey. Next, jealousy, it's a quiet thief. It creeps into your heart when your hands are idle and your mind is focused outward instead of inward. It's not a sign that someone else has too much. It's a signal that you're doing too little with what you've been given. And the truth is, jealousy is not about them. It's about you. It's the emotional tax you pay for not being fully engaged in your own life. If you find yourself feeling envious of someone else's success, don't blame them. They didn't steal your opportunity. They didn't take your portion. They simply did the work. They planted the seeds. They endured the storms. They watered the dream. And now it's harvest time for them. But what about you? Are your hands in the soil of your own future, or are they folded, busy pointing fingers instead of planting purpose? You don't get wealthy watching someone else win. You don't build a business by envying someone else's profits. You don't become strong by complaining about someone else's discipline. You only get wealthy internally, emotionally, financially when you turn your focus inward and begin doing your own work with intention. Now let's get this straight. It's not wrong to notice someone else's success. It's not wrong to feel a spark of desire when you see what's possible. But here's the difference. When you allow that desire to fuel discipline, it becomes drive. But if you let it fester, if you sit in that feeling and allow it to sour, it becomes jealous. And jealousy is a rotten foundation. Nothing good is built on envy. You see, when your focus is scattered, when your energy is on what others have, you lose clarity about what you're building. That's why so many people live small, not because they're not capable, but because they're distracted. They've got all this potential, but they spend it scrolling, comparing, envying, gossiping. They trade productivity for pettiness. And that's a losing game. I say this with love. If you're jealous, it means you're not busy enough. You don't envy when you're building. You don't resent when you're rising. When your mind is occupied with discipline, when your hands are creating, your heart doesn't have time for jealousy. It's too full of purpose, too focused on progress. So shift your attention, take that energy that's aimed at others and redirect it. Use it to sharpen your own vision. Ask yourself, why am I bothered by their success? What does that reveal about what I'm neglecting in myself? And then go fix it. Don't wallow in envy. Work it out through action, because life doesn't reward opinions, it rewards effort. The world doesn't pay attention to those who resent, it listens to those who rise. And the fastest way to silence envy is to outgrow it. You outgrow it by elevating your standards. You outgrow it by being so engaged in your own development that you don't even notice what others are doing. Let me give it to you straight. The path to wealth, to peace, to power doesn't pass through the neighborhood of jealousy. It starts with self-responsibility. It continues with discipline, and it ends with results. Not just what you want, but what you earn. And you earn it by showing up, by staying focused, by doing the work. So the next time jealousy taps on your shoulder, don't answer it with excuses. Answer it with action. Use it as a mirror, not a weapon. Let it show you where you've drifted from your path. And then, get back to building. You've got enough to worry about within your own destiny. Stop wasting your energy watching someone else's. Focus on your work, your goals, your gifts. That's where the transformation begins. Not with what they have, but with what you decide to do next. Everybody wants a better future. That's not new. Everybody wants to be wealthy, to be in shape, to be respected. The marketplace is full of dreamers. But let me remind you, dreams don't pay dividends. Intentions don't pay bills. The world isn't moved by what you meant to do, it's only moved by what you actually do. So the real question is not, what do you want? The question is, what do you practice? Your future is not created in some distant moment, it's formed in the rituals of today. Your habits are the architects of your destiny. They are the blueprint, the way you eat, the way you speak, the way you think. When nobody's watching, that's where the future gets decided. Not in the big events, but in the tiny disciplines repeated over time. And yet, most people live on the fumes of good intentions. They say, I'm going to start next week. Once this busy season ends, I'll get focused. After the holidays, I'll be disciplined. But next week becomes next year, and next year becomes never. Why? Because they keep confusing a wish with a standard. Wishing doesn't move mountains. Discipline does. Discipline is doing it when it's boring, doing it when you're tired, doing it when there's no applause. Success doesn't come because you want it badly, it comes because you practice the right habits daily. One more rep, one more chapter, one more hour of deep work. That's where the magic is. If I want to know your future, I don't need to ask about your goals, just show me your habits. Show me your morning. Show me how you spend your evenings. Show me your relationship with time. Because if you waste your minutes, you'll waste your life. But if you master your day, you master your destiny. Let me ask you this, what's your standard for today? Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Because what you repeat, you reinforce. If you keep skipping workouts, you're training your body to accept weakness. If you keep hitting snooze, you're training your mind to tolerate delay. But if you wake up and own your day, if you read, plan, work, and execute, that's not just a productive day, that's a signal to the universe. This person is serious. You see, habits are not just actions, they are identities in disguise. When you choose to be disciplined, you're not just performing a task, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become. Every repetition is a seed. You may not see the fruit tomorrow, but it's coming. Just like the farmer doesn't doubt the soil when he plants. He trusts the process. He shows up, he waters, he weeds, and then harvest comes. So don't judge your life by your hopes, judge it by your habits. Don't look at your vision board and get inspired, look at your calendar and get accountable. Are your rituals aligned with your goals? If not, your future will feel like a betrayal. Because success is not found in sudden breakthroughs, it's earned through daily discipline. And here's the truth. Habits don't lie. They will always reveal what you truly value. You can say health matters, but do you train? You can say money matters, but do you budget? You can say growth matters, but do you read, reflect, and improve? The scoreboard doesn't lie, it reflects the rituals. So if you want to predict where your life is going, don't look at your dreams, look at your daily. What you do consistently is what shapes you permanently. The good news, you can begin today. One small shift, one better choice, one refined habit, stack enough of those and success becomes inevitable. The key isn't to wait for motivation, it's to build systems, habits that are stronger than your moods, rituals that work even when you don't feel like it. That's where greatness begins. Not in fantasy, but in focus. Not in intention, but in disciplined action, day after day, until your future has no choice but to reflect the person you became. See, money doesn't follow noise, it follows value. And value is something you become, not something you demand. That's the truth most people miss. They're so busy trying to get attention, they forget to become someone worth noticing. But let me tell you, wealth is not looking for noisemakers. It's looking for value creators. Now, how do you create value? You become more than you were yesterday. You grow, you improve, you sharpen your skills. You shape your mind, you develop your character, and little by little you become the kind of person people trust, admire, and want to work with. You become a magnet for opportunity, not because you begged for it, but because you became it. But here's what most people do. They chase clout, they chase popularity. They gossip, compare, and criticize, thinking that somehow if they shout loud enough or look flashy enough, money will show up. But that's not how it works. Money is like a shadow. It follows, but it doesn't lead. You lead with discipline, with value, with substance, and wealth follows behind you. Quietly, inevitably. Now think about this. If you were hiring someone today, would you hire you? Would you trust you with your own goals? Would you invest in the habits you practice? Because wealth doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your background or your drama. It's simple. Wealth responds to value, and value is a byproduct of who you become. The reason most people stay broke isn't because they're unlucky, it's because they haven't grown. You can't attract millionaire results with minimum wage thinking, and you can't get rich by hoping the world sees your potential. The world pays you for what's actual, not what's possible. So the only way forward is this: become more. Focus on your craft, master something, show up on time, speak with excellence, develop the discipline to work when no one's watching. Get so busy improving, you don't have time for gossip. Don't waste your energy broadcasting your plans. Channel that energy into building them. Quiet work speaks louder than loud talk. Every time you practice a new skill, read a new book, or finish what you started, you're not just building success, you're building identity. And identity attracts results. Let's say you want to earn more. The marketplace doesn't care what you want, it only responds to what you bring. So if you bring more value, you earn more. If you stay the same, you get the same. It's not personal, it's principle. The great mistake is thinking wealth is something you chase. No, it's something you attract by who you become. And here's the real magic. Once you focus on becoming more, you don't just attract money, you attract confidence, you attract opportunity, you attract strong people, strong conversations, and strong outcome. Because your energy says, this person is not ordinary. This person is building something. I've seen it over and over again. People trying to make more money, but refusing to become more. You can't plant laziness and expect a harvest of prosperity. You can't plant distraction and expect results. You reap what you sow, not in dreams, but in habits. So the big question is, who are you becoming? Not what are you getting? Who are you becoming? Because if you become more valuable, the world will pay attention. If you raise your standard, the world will raise its reward. And if you build something great within you, something great will happen around you. So stop worrying about being noticed. Focus on being needed. Stop broadcasting. Start building. Stop chasing and start becoming. Because wealth doesn't knock on every door. It knocks on the door of the disciplined, the prepared, the focused. You attract wealth not by noise, not by luck, but by becoming someone who deserves it. So build yourself into that person quietly, daily, relentlessly. You want to know why some people are stuck in a cycle of resentment, frustration, and bitterness? It's because they've spent their mornings scrolling through other people's lives instead of building their own. They've spent their days wishing for something they're not willing to work for, and then wonder why they're miserable at night. It's a dangerous cycle, and it starts with a lack of focus in the morning. Here's the truth. How you begin your day sets the tone for the rest of it. The successful understand that, the unsuccessful do not. You cannot build a life of greatness by starting the day with comparison, distractions, and a lack of purpose. If you want to stop resenting your own life, you need to start respecting it. And that starts with your mornings, a routine built on discipline, not on the mindless scroll of your phone or the endless distractions that fill the world around you. is the antidote to bitterness. The resentment you feel towards your life is simply a reflection of your lack of control over it. When you let others dictate your mood or your expectations, when you let your circumstances control your energy, resentment begins to grow. It festers, but it doesn't have to. If you want success, stop looking at others. Start looking at yourself. What are you doing with your mornings? How are you starting your day? The way you begin your day is how you start to build your future. If you wake up with a sense of direction, with a plan, and with purpose, you're on the road to success. If you wake up feeling defeated, distracted, and comparing yourself to others, you're already starting your day in a losing mindset. Here's a powerful truth. Success is built at sunrise. It's not built by hoping for things to change. It's built by taking control of the hours you have and making them count. The problem is this. Many people let resentment be the driving force of their day. They're angry at their job, their life, their circumstances, and that anger eats away at their productivity, their focus, and their ability to make things happen. They let it define them. But let me tell you, resentment is like a poison. It does nothing to the person you're angry with, but it destroys you. The solution isn't to focus on the world changing. The solution is to focus on you changing. You can't control what others do or what happens around you, but you can control how you start your day and how you choose to respond. A structured routine gives you the power to be in charge of your life. It replaces the frustration of feeling out of control with the satisfaction of taking ownership. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Jim, life is difficult. I don't have time to build a perfect morning routine. Here's what I'll tell you. If you don't make time for discipline, life will make time for frustration. You'll be resentful of your lack of progress, resentful of others' success, and resentful of your own missed opportunities. And when that resentment takes over, you're left with a life of what-ifs and regrets. Instead, get serious about your mornings. When you wake up to purpose. Take the first 15, 30, or 60 minutes of your day and dedicate it to building yourself. Whether it's a walk, some quiet reading, a few moments of deep thought, or writing out your goals, make those first moments of your day count. Get your mind centered, get your energy aligned. Don't allow the distractions of the world to dictate the rhythm of your day. Discipline in the morning creates momentum that carries you through the rest of the day. A good morning routine sets the tone for the rest of your action. It creates an environment where you can do your best work, and it also creates a shield against the negativity, comparisons, and resentments that will inevitably come your way. When you begin the day with a sense of accomplishment and a plan in hand, you've already won the first battle. Every successful person I know has a morning routine that sets them up for success. They don't waste time scrolling through social media. They don't wake up reacting to the world. They wake up intentionally focused and ready to take on the day. They know that success isn't a random event. It's a result of consistent, deliberate actions. And it starts with controlling the one thing you can control: your morning. The alternative is letting resentment fester. If you don't take control of your mornings, resentment will take control of your life. It's easy to blame others, to compare yourself, to wish things were different, but that doesn't change anything. What changes your life is taking responsibility and creating a routine that works for you. It's about deciding that your success is more important than your distractions. So start today. Start with one small change. Start with a morning ritual that moves you closer to your goals. Stop scrolling, stop resenting, and start creating. When you do that, you'll find that your bitterness fades away and your opportunities begin to multiply. Success isn't just about what happens in the world around you. It's about what happens when you take control of yourself. Build your success at sunrise, and the rest of your day will take care of itself. Energy's a funny thing. It follows where your attention goes. Whatever you focus on, that's where your energy flows. If you're focusing on the wrong things, your energy is being wasted. If you're focusing on the drama, the distractions, the trivial things, your energy is being hijacked. And every minute spent feeding those distractions is a minute stolen from your dreams, your future, and your potential. You've got to realize that time is your most valuable asset. It's not something you can make more of. It's not something you can replace. The time you have today is all you've got. Once it's gone forever. So when you're wasting it on someone else's drama, on things that don't move you closer to your goals, you're squandering something that can never be replaced. Let me put it this way. Your attention is like a bank account, and your energy is the currency. Where you place your attention determines how your energy is spent. If you're constantly giving your attention to things that don't add value to your life, you're draining your energy on things that have no return on investment. But if you put your focus on the things that matter, the things that will move you forward, your dreams, your goals, your personal growth, then your energy becomes an investment that pays you back tenfold. This is a fundamental principle of success. If you want to succeed, you must guard your focus. You must protect your energy as if it were gold, because that's exactly what it is. The more you focus on your goals, the more energy you direct toward those goals, the closer you'll get to achieving them. Success is a byproduct of consistent effort, and that effort is fueled by the energy you put into the things that truly matter. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get pulled into someone else's drama? Maybe it's the latest gossip at work or the problems in someone else's life. It's so tempting, isn't it? But what does it really do for you? How does it help you grow? How does it help you achieve the things you want in life? Truth is, it doesn't. All it does is waste your energy and distract you from what truly matters. Now, I'm not saying you should shut yourself off from the world or ignore the people around you, but you've got to understand that not every conversation is worth your time. Not every situation deserves your energy. The more you allow yourself to be pulled into distractions, the less time you have for the things that will actually move you forward. Guard your focus. Be deliberate about where you direct your attention. Be intentional with your time. Your dreams, your goals, your future, they all depend on where you choose to place your energy. Don't let others waste your time and attention. Don't let them pull you into their drama or their distractions. Protect your energy, protect your focus, and use it to build the life you want. Here's a simple but powerful rule to live by. If it's not helping you grow, if it's not moving you toward your goals, if it's not making you better, then it doesn't deserve your energy. You've got to be ruthless with where you put your attention. If something doesn't serve you, let it go. If someone's drama doesn't move you closer to your dreams, don't get involved. If an opportunity doesn't align with your values, walk away from it. It's all about focus. Your focus is your power. The key to achieving anything is not just hard work, it's focus, disciplined effort toward the things that truly matter. When you focus on your goals, on the actions that will bring you closer to your success, your energy flows toward those things, and success will follow. One of the most powerful ways to protect your energy is to create boundaries. Set boundaries around your time and your attention. Limit the distractions, limit the negative influences, and limit the things that aren't serving you. Instead, put your energy into the things that will help you grow, the things that align with your vision for the future. Energy goes where attention flows, so make sure your attention is flowing in the right direction. Focus on your goals, focus on your growth, and focus on the things that will help you become the best version of yourself. Don't let anything or anyone steal your focus away from your dreams. Your future depends on where you place your attention today. In the end, success isn't a mystery. It's a result of disciplined focus and consistent energy directed toward meaningful goals. Guard your energy, protect your focus, and watch how your life begins to change. When you focus on the things that truly matter, the universe will reward you with the success you've been working for. So make the decision today to stop feeding your distractions and start feeding your dreams. The energy you need to succeed is already within you. You just have to direct it where it counts. The secret to success, the secret to wealth, and the secret to fulfillment isn't something you find out there. It's not in the next seminar, not in the latest book, and not in the opinions of others. The secret lies within you. The world you experience is simply a reflection of the person you have become. You see, if you want the world to respond to you differently, you've got to change how you respond to the world. It all starts with mastering yourself. And that doesn't just mean being disciplined in your actions. It means mastering your emotions, your thoughts, your habits, and your standards. When you take control of your inner world, the outer world starts to work in your favor. Too many people are busy chasing after success, looking for the next big opportunity, trying to copy someone else's path. But I'll tell you something. Success isn't found in copying others. It's found in creating your own path, in mastering the person you are right now, and then letting the world respond to that transformation. Think about it. What good is it to chase success if you're not prepared for it? What good is it to strive for wealth if you're not disciplined enough to handle it when it comes? What good is it to desire greatness if your habits don't align with that desire? The world doesn't just give success to anyone. It gives it to those who are ready to handle it, those who have the discipline to maintain it, and those who have the character to grow from it. You can't have a massive dream and an average discipline. You can't desire great success with poor habits. You must first cultivate the qualities you wish to receive. The world only responds to you based on what you become. If you want to change the world around you, the first step is changing the person within you. Mastering yourself begins with mastering your emotions. Emotions are powerful. They can lift you up or drag you down. How often have you let frustration, anger, or fear steer your actions? How often have you let temporary emotions dictate your long-term decisions? Successful people understand that emotions are just signals. They don't dictate your behavior unless you let them. Mastering yourself means understanding your emotions, recognizing them for what they are, and then choosing how you respond. Next, master your habits. Successful people aren't the ones who have occasional bursts of productivity. They're the ones who show up every day without fail and do what needs to be done. Your habits form the foundation of your success. They shape the course of your life. If you want a different life, you need to develop different habits. Your day-to-day actions determine where you'll be a year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. The key is to consistently act in alignment with your goals. If you master your habits, you'll master your destiny. Master your discipline. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the practice of doing what you must when you must, whether you feel like it or not. It's the ability to make choices in the present that align with the future you want. Discipline is the bridge between your current reality and your future success. It's what separates those who wish for success from those who achieve it. It's what allows you to stay the course when things get tough, to keep going when the road gets rough, and to remain committed when distractions try to pull you off course. Finally, master your standards. We live in a world that constantly tries to lower the bar, to make things easier, to give us excuses, to settle for less. But here's the truth. Success doesn't come from doing the minimum. It comes from raising your standards, demanding more from yourself than the world expects. When you raise your standards, you elevate your life. You stop accepting mediocrity in any area of your life, whether it's your work, your relationships, your health, or your finances. You strive for excellence, not perfection. And that's what the world will respond to. The world doesn't owe you success. It doesn't owe you wealth. It doesn't owe you recognition. But here's the good news. If you master yourself, the world will open up to you. It will begin to respond to your discipline, your habits, your emotions, and your standards. It will give you the opportunities you've been waiting for. It will reward you with wealth, success, and fulfillment, because you've become the kind of person who is worthy of those things. You don't need to chase success. You don't need to chase wealth. You don't need to chase happiness. You need to become the person who attracts those things. When you focus on cultivating the best version of yourself, you'll find that the world will start to respond. You'll find that the opportunities, the wealth, the relationships, and the success you desire will come to you, not because you chased them, but because you were ready for them. The key is to stop looking outside for the answers. Stop chasing, stop copying. The secret is within you. Master yourself and the world will respond. When you focus on becoming the person worthy of the life you dream about, you'll start to see that life unfold before your eyes. So become the best version of yourself and watch as the world opens up to you in ways you never imagined.